study uh, all of the different avatars. One of the qualities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is he's the most merciful form of Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most merciful form. I think he's the Adarya. Adarya, that means mercy, right? Anyone know? But this is the Adarya avatar. But actually amongst Chaitanya and Nityananda, Nityananda is even more merciful than Lord Chaitanya. And we'll explain a pastime that exemplifies this. So today actually also is because Nityananda is infinitely most merciful. Today is the prime day of the year to have the Lord's mercy, to feel the Lord's mercy. And we'll explain a little bit about what Nityananda, who is also, we should understand, he's Balaram. You know, Balaram, you see we have Baladev over there on the altar. Balaram is Krishna's right-hand man, literally. He is out of the right side of Krishna, there's Balaram. So he's his right-hand man. And Balaram is the expansion of service. You know, he's like Krishna in every way, except instead of being the object of service, the object of enjoyment, he is the aspect of Krishna that wants to serve that object of enjoyment. And actually, every single expansion, including the holy dham, all paraphernalia for worship, and including every living entity, is an expansion of Balaram. And Nityananda is that Balaram coming in this Kali Yuga. And we should know we're all very, very much intimately related with Nityananda, because Nityananda himself is the father of all the jivas. All the souls are Nityananda's expansions. Which means, if Nityananda is an expansion of service, and we are an expansion of Nityananda, what are we? Yes, we're also very tiny fragmental expansions of service, which is why if you Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nityadasa, Krishnera Tatastha Shakti Beta Beta Prakash. That the actual form of the living entity of the soul is to be the eternal servant of Krishna. We put so many dharmas, I have to do this, I have to take care of my job, I have to take care of my wife, my husband, my child, I have this, and this. These are all anitya dharma, meaning they're temporary arrangements. Like in 100 years, my wife and I will likely not have the same relationship. Me and Abhiram, we won't have the same relationship. 50 years, even 2 years before, I had no relationship with Abhiram. But now, some time has passed, but these are temporary relationships. Your job is a temporary duty. Your activities are all temporary, but there is an eternal function of you. And it's simply to be what you were created by Nityananda Prabhu to do, to serve Krishna, to serve God. That's why everything was created, actually. So, Nityananda Prabhu, he is that function of Krishna. There's one God, but there's a reason we're all not just merged back in that one God. The whole arrangement of creation, do you know there's one word given in the Vedas? Why did Krishna create everything? What? Say Parth. Leela. Simply for his enjoyment. Simply because it's fun, it's enjoyable. That's what the purpose of creation is. In this material world, though, we don't experience that. In Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mam upetya punarjanma dukalayam ashashvatam. He says, those who attain me, birth in this temporary and miserable world. That's unfortunate. If you didn't know, that's the case. I'm not saying, Krishna is saying, this is the case here. It's dukalayam and ashashvatam. Meaning it's miserable, dukalayam, and ashashvatam. It's temporary. So everything we try and build, and we work so hard here to build, this is temporary. But then he says, Napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhing paramam gata. He's saying, those who attain me, mamupetya, they will never have to, napnuvanti, they'll never have to attain this dukalayam and ashashvatam again. This temporary, miserable place that we're currently in. So if you're experiencing misery in this world, You're not alone. Actually, that's the function of this world. Because it's supposed to poke us and make us realize our actual function. That's the whole purpose. The reason we're here, it says in Bhagavatam, I don't want to throw too many verses at you, but Bayam Dvitiya Binivesha Tasyad Ishada Petasya Viparya Smriti. What that means is fear is arising. Why is fear coming to all of us? Why are we in this fearful condition? Always fearful. Oh my God, this is happening, what's going to happen here? Dvitiya Biniveshata. We're absorbed in the dualism. We're absorbed in the senses and the sense objects and this false identity of this world. And what's the main? And he said, Ishada Petasya. We've turned away from God. That's our main problem. We've turned away from God, where we're not interested in God so much. We're thinking like, oh, I can go get some candy down the road, maybe sex, drugs, rock and roll. All these things are, this is what's driving most of the living entities in this material world. So we've turned away from God. Why? Viparyayo smriti. Viparyayo means we've misidentified who we actually are. We have no idea who we actually are. But if we follow Nityananda's instructions, then we'll actually discover who we actually are, what he created us to be in the first place. And that's servants. Servants of God. We're meant to serve. It's so much the tendency of the jiva is to try to put themselves in the place of highest enjoyment. I can enjoy the best like this. If I just arrange this, that, and this, and here it is, the pinnacle of enjoyment. But do you notice nobody's really happy in this world? Look at all the billionaires. They're in such a place of enjoyment. But they're not completely happy. Or they would just be like, that's it, I quit my job. I'm perfectly satisfied. No, I have to be the first trillionaire. And then they're fighting like anything. Who can enjoy more and more, and always competing and competing? But this is not actually... why is no one happy like this? It's not the function. It's not our function to be the enjoyer. Our function is to be the servant. And so, due to Maya, the illusion, we always try to get greater and greater enjoyment. Oh, if we eat like this, I can get even more enjoyment. Oh, if I order these specialty items, even more enjoyment. Special clothing, special this, special that, more and more enjoyment. But actually, we'll find ourselves enjoying less and less and less and less and less. Why? Because it's not who we are. It's not what we were created to be. We are created to be the servants. And this whole Krishna consciousness process is to rediscover that nature of who we really are. And if we, instead of asmriti, not remembering Krishna, if we do the main function of Krishna consciousness and remember Krishna, and remember that we are his Nitya Das, we're his eternal servant, then we can actually have a chance to be happy here and into wherever we go next. So, one more verse I'll share with you. During the Ratha Yatra, when Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they were worshipping Lord Jagannath. And I don't know if have you been to Ratha Yatra? Anuradha, you must have been to some Ratha Yatras back in the old days. London Ratha Yatra.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful festival, and these big, beautiful cars, and the deities, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, they're all being carted down the road. The original festivals in Puri. For thousands of years, this festival has been observed, since the Jagannath deities have come. And when Lord Chaitanya was on the planet, he would every day, him and the devotees, they would very diligently observe all of the Lord's festivals. This was the main purpose of life. And actually, this should be it's amazing that everyone has come today. This should be our main purpose of life. We should celebrate the Lord. How can we we're always looking for a reason to have a festival. And the devotees have like dozens all year, every year. Oh, the Lord appeared yesterday as Rahadev. Let's have a festival. The Lord appeared, every 2 weeks. Oh, Kadashi, it's Hari Vasar, the Lord's dear day. Festival, we should gather together. But anyhow, because we're all budding devotees here, as you can see, this whole room should be packed. If everyone knew the glories of this day, the whole room would be packed. All the local people would be coming. But because only a few people in this area know, then we get what we get, But actually, in understanding our true position as the servant, we'll always be trying to celebrate the Lord. We'll always be trying to celebrate the Lord. Because that's what we were made by Nityananda, by Lord Balaram to do. Every jiva is meant to do what he was meant to do, and that's serve the Lord, to serve him, So, I'm going to share a few things, but I was saying the Ratha Yatra, right? So at one point during the Ratha Yatra, Lord Chaitanya completely lost external consciousness, and he started, many, many things Lord Chaitanya used to do. He used to get so ecstatic with love of God that he wouldn't even be able to speak words. He wouldn't even be able to even chant the Lord's names. There are verses in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that explain, he's saying like, gla, 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 like Google and gla, gla, gla. He can't actually get out words. And he's that ecstatic. But one of those ecstatic moments, a pinnacle came. And this verse is very important, because it actually explains what's happening. And we should know, yes.
How is it possible that the words aren't able to get out of your mouth? Like you're so indulged into.
So I couldn't tell you how is it possible, but I can tell you one thing. I once did a silent meditation retreat for 5 days as a Buddhist. I was a practicing Buddhist before I found Krishna yoga and meditation. I knew something higher was there. I had some experiences and I was chasing. So I did a silent meditation retreat, and the thing was, you can't talk for 5 days. So I did this thing, and then by the end of the 5 days, they said, okay, you can talk now. And so I went to go try to talk, and I could not do it. And I actually was like, I couldn't actually get sounds out. So that's on a mundane level. But if you're completely ecstatic with love of God, the consciousness isn't working how it normally is, associating and compartmentalizing everything in this material world. So you're so ecstatic with what's going on that the faculties of speech can go. Everything, Lord Chaitanya especially did the craziest things. If you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you could see so many, and Lord Nityananda, they would just do wild, wild, crazy things. I'll try to get to some of them for Lord Nityananda in this time period. But how it's possible, I don't know. I don't know the symptoms of prem and how prem can overwhelm us, the living entity. But I do know that this is described everywhere in the Shastras, that when love of God is attained, that all normal mental faculties go out the window and you're just completely overwhelmed with love, which sounds amazing, actually. That's actually one of the purpose, actually, you could say prayojan, the goal of this whole thing that every spiritual practice should be leading to, is that prem, this priti, this love for God. This love, and not only just like love for the impersonal God, or like, yes, the mystic magic man in the clouds, the wish fulfiller, yes, I love you. But like, no, there's an actual personal relationship. And that's why he comes in this deity form, because it's giving us practice on which we can actually associate and love and serve him. And then eventually, he won't just stand there. Eventually, he'll be like, oh, he's ready. And he'll come to you. Or you'll come to him, he'll send you to him. And you won't have to... but he very mercifully comes in this Dukkhalayam Shashvatam, temporary miserable place of this world that we're in. And Hare Krishna, Kumari and Tej. Happy Nityananda Trayodashi. So, now we should say... and by the way, Danya is not here today because she's on a cruise. So if you're wondering, Danya normally leads the Friday class. But by my good fortune, I get to speak something on Nityananda Prabhu. So without further ado... Oh, I didn't even share the verse. The verse we were talking about, Lord Chaitanya in ecstasy, he blurts out, Naham Vipro, Nacha Narapatir Napi Vaishuna Shudro, Naham Barni, Nacha Grihapatir No Vanishto Yatirva, Kintu Prodhyani Kila Paramananda Purnamritabdher, Gopi Bartu Padakamalayar Dasa Das Anudasaha. It's a very famous verse. I know Narayan Maharaj and many of his disciples, before they chant their Gayatri mantras, they chant this verse. Why? Because it makes you remember who you actually are. He says, Naham Bipro, I'm not a Brahmin. Did you think you were a Brahmin coming here today? That's good. He was born in a Brahmin family, so I'm teasing him a little. Naham Bipro, Nacha Narapatir, nor am I a Kshatriya. Nacha Narapatir, Napi Vaishyo, I'm not a Vaishya. I'm not a business person at all. No Shudra, I'm not a Shudra. I'm not just an ordinary worker in this world. Naham Varni, I'm not a brahmachari. Nacha Grihapatir, I'm not a householder. No Vanishto, I'm not a retired person. I'm not a renunciate. Yatirva, or a renunciate either. And then he says, Kintu, but, Prodyan, this ever expanding, Nikila, indeed, Paramananda, of supreme bliss, Purnamritabter, in this complete nectarian ocean of supreme bliss, of what? Gopi Bhartu, the maintainer of the gopis, which is Krishna. Also it could mean he who is maintained by the gopis, because actually the other side of service is Radharani and her camps, the gopis. They actually maintain Krishna. Krishna will have no interest in living at all if he is not enjoying with them. Padakamalaya, or those lotus feet. Dasa das anudas. The servant of the servant of the servant of those lotus feet, yes. Oh, yes. I didn't have the shloka, this was just from memory. Yes. But I didn't, it's not like I had the shloka up. But what I do have is we can read a little bit about Lord Nityananda today. But before we do this, let's chant some Mangalacharna and get some blessings. So, let me share it here. Maybe you can scroll. So please chant along with me. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-anjana-shalakaya Chakshur-unmilitam yena Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya-manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa-Brahmanam Dati-Svabhadantikam Vandeham Shri-Guru Shri-Yuta-Bharatam Vaishnavamscha Shri-Rupam Sagrajatam Sarvaramanyatam Vansajivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Harijana-sahitam Vishnu-chaitanya-devam Shri-Radha-Krishna-padam Saranavita Shri-Krishna-padam-scha Hare Krishna Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurani Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhani Sute Devi Manamami Haripriye Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyascha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Chachani Nirvishesha Shunyam Deshatayani. So, anything I say, hopefully, maybe we can pray that the Lord will make me a vessel where I'm not speaking, but that the Lord via Harikatha actually comes here. I'm just in the position where it's my service to actually invite the Lord and not put my own thoughts in the equation, but to just recite that which is said by our gurus and our acharyas. And so I will humbly try to do that, but please pray that I can do this. And the way you do that is you beg to the lineage of gurus, all the way back up to Krishna, to open up our eyes and become their vessel. We just said this dasa das anudas, to become the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. And this is where this complete nectarian ocean of supreme bliss that's ever increasing, this is where it lies in this service. So we will try. All right, let's read some so let's read some Chaitanya Charitamrita talking about Nityananda, the glories of Lord Nityananda Balaram. So this is the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Adi, the first part, chapter 5. You can know all about Lord Nityananda if you want to read it. So, Shri Balarama Gosani Mula Sankarshana Pancharupa Dari Kadena Krishnada Sevana Shri Balaram Balaram Gosani. It's actually Goshai, but the Lord Mula Sankarshan, the original Sankarshan, Pancharupa Dari, accepting 5 bodies, Karena, does, Krishnara, of Lord Krishna, Sevana, service. So Lord Balaram is the original Sankarshan. He assumes 5 other forms to serve Lord Krishna. So we were kind of talking about this before, that this will get a little technical. I'm going to try to skip the technical thing, and I'm going to try to just get to the essence of the pastimes. But the technical thing is that the Lord, when He expands all of creation, He expands so many different forms to do it. Like, for instance, of this universe, Vishnu or Narayan acts as the God of each individual universe. In each person's heart, there's the super soul there. This isn't directly Krishna in the heart. This is his form as Narayan in the Kshirodakshayo Vishnu form. So each of these are, all of these different forms of Vishnu and the Lord are actually expansions of a being called Sankarshan. But Lord Balaram is actually the original being coming from Krishna, from which all of these expansion forms are coming from. And so this is actually Nityananda's function. He's setting up everything so that the Lord can do His pastimes, and including being the place from which the Lord does the pastimes, the Dham, all the paraphernalia for worship, everything, and including you, all the souls. We're all paraphernalia for service for the Lord. That's actually like the nice message of today, that the Lord Nityananda has actually created us for our natural function to be of service. And right now we're in service, even if we're serving Maya. And the whole goal of serving Maya is because it's supposed to cause all the living entities in this world suffering. And when it causes us all suffering, this is the bitter medicine that will make us healthy to realize, oh, I should serve the Lord. Because you cannot serve the Lord by force. I cannot take a whip and whip Madhav, you serve, Madhav, you serve. If he doesn't want to serve, then what can I do? It's not relishable to have slaves in life. Oh yes, Madhav's the slave, or Tanu's the slave, or my wife's the slave. This isn't like a relishable relationship. So, how does the Lord arrange it and push and poke everyone towards service? He causes suffering when we don't engage in service, and we cause sinful activities and harm to other living entities. The natural result is suffering, and that's what this world is all about. Where everyone is doing that, they're poking and trying to enjoy and exploit each other and stepping over each other and doing so many sinful things, and then we're all suffering in here for it. But actually, we're serving that function of this suffering, dukkhalayama shashvatam, this temporary miserable world, by serving it. So even if we don't want to serve Krishna, which it's actually the tendency of most of us in this material world not to want to do that at all. We just, not at all. We don't want at all to be anyone's servant, and what's to speak of Krishna's servant. We're just like, at the end of the day, well, how can I place myself as top enjoyer? How can I be top dog, top enjoyer? So, yeah, but the result is suffering. So we should know. But anyhow, the main thing is that Lord Balaram or Nityananda, he exists solely to serve Krishna, and he creates everything for that function. And even we exist for that function. We're just right now, we're kind of covered over with the idea, the illusory idea that we should not. And guess what? When we serve that illusion and we try to be the enjoyer, and let's say a devotee watches us. So let's just say Satvik is committed, no, I'm going to enjoy this material world. And all the devotees were like, no, Satvik, please, come take this devotional service. It'll be much better. You'll be happier. Everyone will be happy. And Satvik's like, no. I don't have faith. I don't trust this at all. I'm going to enjoy this world. So then Satvik runs off, and then we watch Satvik. Oh, okay, Satvik. But when we see Satvik again, and if he does, he's committed to that. If he stays committed to, no, I'm going to enjoy this material world, what will happen is Satvik will suffer. It's just like the natural tendency. If you try to go off and enjoy the material world, the result is the opposite of what you want. Instead of enjoying, you'll suffer more and more. That's the way it's designed. So if you know the design, you know, if you know it's a trap, ever see a bear trap or something like that, and you put some food, some enjoyment in the center of the trap. Ooh, this looks good. And then it's just, and you're stuck. That's what happens in this material world. Oh, that looks good. This enjoyment over here looks very nice. But actually the real enjoyment is in serving the Lord. That's our natural function. That's why the devotees are actually blissful. Especially when they're engaged in devotional service. But unfortunately, this knowledge hasn't reached most of the living entities in this material world. The large majority, it's not reaching, and guess what? It's not going to reach the large majority, because this material world is supposed to be here for the opposite, for those in illusion. So anyhow, this is the function of Nityananda, is to serve Krishna. We'll just read some English here just to speed it up, because I want to talk about the pastimes of Nityananda. So he says, he himself helps in the pastimes of Lord Krishna, and he does the work of creation in 4 other forms. Some of the technical parts. He executes the orders of Lord Krishna in the work of creation. In the form of Lord Shesha, he serves Krishna in various ways. At the bottom of every universe, it's being supported by the Shesha Nag. This is one of the expansions of Balaram, one of the expansions. They're called Ananta Shesh. So, Prabhupada in the purport, he's getting so technical. He's talking about the 5 forms: Mahasankarshan, Karna, Abdishai, Garbhodakshai, and Kshirodakshai, all these Vishnus, that are creating the material world and so on. And then Shesha. So anyway, we're not going to get into all these, because I want to just talk about... Yes?
The Shesha, the snake form that Vishnu uses as a seat?
Yes.
Isn't
That's at the bottom of every universe. The support of every universe. There's the Shesha form, like a bed, the snake bed that you're referring. Yeah. And everything is resting on him. And then then there's Vishnu lying on top of it, and from Vishnu's navel, the whole universe is coming. We should have some poster here. Madhav, you know where the poster is? We have some poster that actually has all of the universal creation. So that's not really easy for us to perceive, because we're it's like an ant trying to understand the landscape of Syracuse University. It's just way beyond its scope. But, this is what the Shastras say, and that's all attributed to Balaram and Nityananda. But I don't know. It's not like I have, yes, Mataji, let me tell you about my realization of the Sheshanag and all this.
I connected the name.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah. He is that, but that's one of, and every universe has a Shesha, and every universe has a Garbhodakshaya of Vishnu lying on the Shesha, creating the universe. And all of those are coming from a Karanabdishai, I believe. What's that? No, Kshirodakshaya is in the heart. Karanabdakshaya, yes. So anyway, but these are all actually coming from Balaram. Krishna is not interested in this at all. This is like boring for Krishna. Krishna wants to enjoy in Vrindavan. He's not interested at all in like universal creation and punishing living entities for being bad or anything. That's just not in Krishna's scope at all. So Balaram in Nityananda, he actually takes all these functions as a service. That's why, when we serve Vaishnavas and we serve the Lord, and we take on some certain roles and functions for them, it may seem small, but it's so helpful. Like, oh, they don't have to spend their time doing. They don't, like, I can do this service. This one's even eligible, even I can do this service. And by doing these many, many different services and living entities coming together to serve, so many great, wonderful things happen. Like, look at this Hare Krishna movement. Look at all the things Srila Prabhupada didn't have to do and wouldn't have done if it not his disciples. They all used their own function as servants of the Lord. Oh, everyone has a specialty. Everyone has a specialty that only you can do. Like, for instance, Divyanshu and Tanu are going to come stay here for some time. I don't know how long yet. It could be a week and a half. It could be a month. It could be some years. I have no idea. And they don't know either, really. They're waiting on some big decisions in life. But there's many things that only they can do. Like, nobody can cook like Divyanshu, I've been saying. And no one, can give special affection to Abhiram like Tanu. And so many different things. Everyone has their own unique ability to serve. And so if we realize that that's our function and we act accordingly, this is where the real joy will come, and this is where your real speciality will come out. So if we can just shift that from like, I'm the enjoyer to I'm the servant of the servant of the servant, something wonderful can arise. And today's the day. Today's the day where it can happen. Today, there's no better day for that function to come out than today. So that's the whole point of today. So let's just see if we can keep going a little bit. Oh, in all the forms he tastes the transcendental bliss of serving Krishna. That's where the transcendental bliss is. It's not in all the money. It's not in setting up the perfect relationship. It's not in setting up all these material enjoyments. It's in serving Krishna. And guess what? You all have been invited to serve Krishna. It's very easy. The easiest service, you're doing it right now. It's just hearing about Krishna. Just sit down. Don't have to do anything. Oh, okay, I hear about Krishna. Easiest service. Next easiest service and most potent service, recite Krishna's glories, kirtan. Easiest way, call his name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is service. Right? What are the 9 main services Prahlad Maharaj teaches? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmani, Vedanam. Any one of these 9 services works. First 3 are definitely recommended. Shravanam, you should hear about Krishna. This is very important because our whole ability to do Kirtanam, it's relying on Shravanam. If we've not done Shravanam, we cannot go to the next step. So, but once Shravanam has been attained, where you've heard from realized devotees, you've heard from more experienced devotees, those who actually are carrying Krishna, because Krishna is coming through the Hare Katha, actually. So he's non-different from his name, he's non-different from his form, his rupa, he's not different from his leelas, he's absolute in every level. So when you hear about Krishna, then he's actually coming to you. And that's how you get Krishna. You hear first about Krishna, and then when you speak about Krishna, and he's also coming, he's in that, he's non-different from that. But in order to speak, you have to first hear about Krishna. So that's the whole point of Mantra Central, to give people a place where they can come and hear about Krishna, chant Krishna's name and glories, and then engage in all of the processes. There's 64 limbs of devotional service, but we can do at least 3. Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Vishnu Smaranam. But Vishnu Smaranam only comes from practicing all the other limbs of devotional service. You can't force yourself to remember about Krishna. Some people, when they chant, they're like, I'm going to try to remember this pastime and remember this time. Actually, it's spontaneous. You cannot remember Krishna. The only way is it's a gift from Krishna by practicing all the other limbs. This is what Jiva Goswami concludes in his, yes. Yes.
Like you said, like hearing Shravanam and also chanting the glories of the Lord.
Yes.
Not like everyone is hearing, but not everyone has a thing like where they can glorify the Lord. Right?
That's not true.
Okay.
It's that whatever you've heard, you can glorify the Lord. So you've heard already the Maha Mantra. You're at work, yes?
Yes.
Typing. Do you type at work?
Yes.
Yes, so doing some typing at work. You have anyone nearby at work?
Yes.
Okay. So even if you don't do it, but even if you had in the background, there's just a little sound box or the phone just saying Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Guess what? That's being shared. That's kirtan. You know, you can sing along at work, just sweetly, softly, melodically, but they're hearing something. Not everyone has great scope for doing kirtan. You know, not everyone can give a class immediately. Not everyone can, be reciting shlokas and this, that, and the other thing. And it's not even essential, actually. What's essential is you just take what you have heard and you share it. And people who've heard a lot more, then they'll be able to share a lot more. So our goal should be to hear as much as possible. That's the conclusion of the devotees. But you've heard many things. So now there will be people in your life, because most people have the complete wrong conclusion. That they think, I'm going to be the enjoyer and I'm going to be happy. And those people, we want to help them, because it's like watching them run off of a cliff. And if you saw someone running off of a cliff, like I'm watching Abhiram all the time now, and he's at the age where he just wants to always get himself in crazy situations, where he wants to just throw himself off the bed or fall down the stairs or do something crazy. And every time I'm like, oh my God. So we should see every living entity out in the material world like this. They think, oh, I'm going to enjoy and I'm going to be happy enjoying. And we just see that they're going off a cliff, because that's actually what's happening. They're going towards suffering. So when you see with that vision, you'll be like, oh, I should try to interject if I can. And just you share. That's how you share Krishna consciousness. There's a really empowered book distributor in ISKCON. His name is Mahotsa. I don't know if you've heard of him. He breaks every record. He's broken his own record many, many times about most books distributed in a day. But I asked him one time, because I used to, they really helped me and my wife when we were a bit like looser in our devotional life. We just didn't want to follow so many things and didn't want to take many things seriously. And they were very intense and in a good way for us. And I remember one time I asked him, well, how do you just get in these people's faces like this and convince them to take books about Krishna? It's like the last thing they want to do. How do you not? And he told me, he's like, I sit and I think this person is gliding towards hell. And the only way in the near future that they can be stopped is if I do something about it. If I get in the way and just do something so that they can get some mercy. But actually, I still remember this to this day. And still, so when we interact with others in this world, we should understand they're gliding towards hell, actually. Their life is hellish. It's going to lead to suffering. They don't know this intricate science. They're in the illusion that thinking, if I can just enjoy, I'll be happy. But it doesn't work that way. Real enjoyment comes this way. The real bliss is in serving Krishna. That's the only way bliss comes, in serving the Lord. And that which is related to the Lord, including all of the devotees of the Lord. And guess what? Everyone's a devotee. And the real service we can do to anyone is actually sharing this transcendental science with them. Sharing anything about Krishna with them. And at the very least, you can do this, anyone can do this, just sharing his name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You can do that, right? Yeah, it's not so difficult. So, and then when you learn more things, as you do more hearings, more things will stick, more shlokas will stick, more technical, philosophical things will stick, and then you could share all that stuff too. But the easiest thing, you just share about Krishna, or you heard a pastime, this sweet pastime, and you could tell that with somebody. So anyway, you can share something, and even if just the chanting, and that's not nothing. It's very powerful. You can share prasadam, very powerful. Prasadam and kirtan are the best remedy for 98% of people. And then you get the rare person who can actually sit and they have the attention span, they can actually hear. And it's very rare, especially now with social media and the phones and everything. Everyone's losing that ability, you know. That's why I could quote more shlokas from Bhagavad Gita, but I won't actually get to go to pastimes of Nityananda unless I get, so keep me on track. So we'll read a little, so that's the CC, what we'll do. I picked up an article here that was just, let's see if I can find it. No, that's all like visa stuff. Here we go. So this is just going to give me an outline of some of Nityananda Prabhu's pastimes. I'm not going to read all of these article things to you, but it'll give me an outline of some of the pastimes of Nityananda. So this is nice. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, this verse is here. And it's Eka Mahaprabhu Ara Prabhu Dui Jan Dui Prabhu Seve Mahaprabhu Charan. And there's one Mahaprabhu. He is famous as Sri Gauranga Sundar of Sri Navadvip Dham. And he later became known as Krishna Chaitanya. Advaita Prabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, both are Prabhu, or master. But Mahaprabhu is the Mahaprabhu, or the Supreme Master. Both Advaita Acharya, whose pastime day was just the other day, his appearance day, and Nityananda Prabhu very happily served Mahaprabhu and spread his conception of Krishna consciousness throughout the universe during their divine pastimes. But before Mahaprabhu appeared, Nityananda Prabhu appeared, and he was born in Radhadesh. Radha means to worship, with love, and this is the land of worship in the Bengal, it says near Burdwan in the Birbhum district of Bengal. So in the village called Ekachakra, he was born of Hadai Pandit, and I think her name is Padmavati. Yes, Padmavati Devi and Hadai Pandit. And which said when he was born, everything just became auspicious. The whole land, everything became auspicious. The whole region. So this is actually the symptom of when a great personality appears, something wonderful. Everyone's feeling that energy. Like even tonight, when their lordships appeared here, I was, you can ask Madhav, I was coming off a day of doing more austerity than usual from the celebrating the Ekadashi yesterday, but I was just lamenting a little bit about some of the situations that have arisen in my life recently. And I was just like, oh my God, I just cannot believe this is what my life is. And so I was really not doing very well this morning. Luckily, after eating some food and things like that, I was, okay. All this, chaos and calamity in my mind is not nearly as bad as I was, feeling about it. But anyhow, but by, as soon as they came and as soon as seeing the auspiciousness of everything and seeing all the devotees gather, I was like, oh yeah, I don't care about any of that stuff. Who cares? It's just not really that important. And this is actually the power of devotional service and the auspiciousness of the Lord. He appeared here. This is his appearance day here. But he appeared in Radhadesh and everything becomes auspicious immediately. So it says here, all the children of Ekachakra would play with Nityananda Prabhu, but he would only play Krishna Lila. So this is it was very special about him. He was born he was named Kuvera at his birth, but as like a little boy, little Kuvera he would do so many special pastimes. Him and all of his friends, they would get together and they would imitate all the Lord's pastimes. Sometimes Krishna and the devotees, they did this and he killed this demon and that, and they used to make effigies, kind of like deities out of like sticks and wood and things of the demons. And then they would act as like Krishna and this, and they would light it on fire and they'd kill it, or they would slash it with sticks and things like that. So they used to play like this. And then one time, there was one pastime where Nityananda Prabhu and his friends were doing Ram Lila. And so in the midst of Ram Leela, they were working through it. Some were monkeys and some were this, and they were going through all the Leelas. And then there's one point where Ravan's eldest son, Indrajit, he had actually struck down Lakshman, and Lakshman he went unconscious, and it wasn't until Hanuman went to the Himalayas and got the herbs. He brought the whole peak back, and then with those herbs, they were able to restore Lakshman. So Nityananda Prabhu, who is actually, Lakshman was his past incarnation, he was actually acting as Lakshman. So all the boys were playing, and sometimes the adults, they would watch the kids play because it was cute. So one time all the boys were playing, and something happened where someone was pretending to be Indrajit, and Kuvera was acting as Lakshman, and they're play battling, and then all of a sudden he threw a flower, and it hit Nityananda Prabhu, and as soon as the flower hit Nityananda Prabhu, he struck back on his back and just completely unconscious. And this freaked everybody out. All the kids, everyone was like, oh my God. And they're feeling his pulse. He's barely breathing, and he's completely unconscious, and everyone is freaking out. So all the kids, naturally, they went and got all the adults. All the adults are coming. Everything is there. So now the whole village, because they love Nityananda more than their own kids. This is possible. Usually everyone loves their kids the most, but when such a special personality arises, it's just so potent that they love them even more than their own kids. It's possible. So Nityananda Prabhu was the most dear. So when he went down, the whole village, they're oh my God, what happened to Kuvera? What happened to him? What happened to him? And so somehow or other, one of the kids got an idea, though, that no, we need Hanuman. I know how to wake him. We just need Hanuman to get the herbs. So one of the kids, he was smart and he figured it out. We just have to get Hanuman to get the herbs like in the pastime. So then Hanuman, whoever was acting as Hanuman, he went and he lifted the mountain. And he's like, we've got the herbs. So they put some herbs, or I don't know what they did, what it was, but they put it up to him. And Nityananda, he breathed it in. And then he awoke, and everyone was like, what has happened? They just couldn't believe, because everyone was like, our cherished boy died, and all he needed was to finish the pastime. But that's how absorbed he was in the pastimes. And they asked him, how are you so expert in performing all these pastimes? And he would say, these are my pastimes, because they're my pastimes. And they couldn't realize, oh, you're an incarnation of the Lord. That's a little out there for most people. But this was actually foreshadowing what he would do later. At one point, at Nityananda Prabhu, he was playing, and he was just the apple of everybody's eye in Ekachakra. But there's a part of Vedic culture that's very difficult, is that when your spiritual senior makes a request of you, even your parents or things like that, you respect it. You try to fulfill it. That's why I know many devotees, Narayan Maharaj's guru, Om Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. A quick story about him. His guru heard his mother was about to pass away. And he told him you should go and be with your mother. But Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, he didn't want to go to his mother. Why? He knew that in the Vedic culture, when on whatever the parent asks for on the deathbed, you have to honor it. It's part of the culture. And he knew that his mother would want to engage him in some type of material activity with the estate or managing land or things like that. And he was immediately fearing, I'll lose my service to my Gurudev if I go and I do this material thing. So he's he hid. Even though his guru ordered him. But he hid. And everyone was like, where is he? Where is he? And so they heard that his mother passed away, but he didn't go. And so everyone was, so now everyone's looking for where is Bhakti Pragyan? He had a different name at that time. Where is Vinod Brahmachari? Where is Vinod Brahmachari? Where is Vinod Brahmachari? And so finally one of the devotees who helped him hide, they came out because now everyone's looking for him. And then they sent him to Bhakti Siddhanta because you're going to get in trouble. you disobeyed the orders of your guru. And so Bhaktisiddhanta says, why did you disrespect my order? Why did you? And he's crying. He said, Gurudev, if I would have went, my mother would have engaged me, and I would have had to, because it's the Vedic injunction. If somebody requests you to do anything, you have to, at their death, you have to follow it. But I knew if she would have requested me, I would lose your service. So I had to hide, Gurudev, I can't lose your service. And Bhaktisiddhanta was so pleased. By this, he brought tears to his eyes, and he gave him some affectionate, maybe an embrace or something, and he said, don't worry, I'm so happy with you. And like this, where you could even disobey the order of your guru if it's ultimately for his service. So it's and actually this will even bring more love. So this actually was one wonderful pastime, but it exemplifies this paradigm where if some senior makes a request of you, you have to do it. Like Lord Ram, he went to the forest because it was the injunction of his father, and it was for the integrity of his father. Even though his father didn't even want to do it, he had to do it because his father's word was dependent on it, and he was the Maryada avatar, or how to do proper conduct, how to always follow Dharma. So a lot of times you get caught to do very difficult things, like Bhishma making a vow to always protect the crown of Hastinapur. But Duryodhana's on the crown now, and he's just terrible. But Bhishma had to tolerate so many things. This is the Vedic culture. So Hadai Pandit was approached by a sannyasi who had come, and that sannyasi, he was so happy in Ekachakra, and he was so happy with little Kuvera serving him, Nityananda. And so when he was finished with his Torah through Ekachakra, he approached Hadai Pandit, and he said, Panditji, I have a request of you. And Hadai Pandit said, yes, anything. This is Vedic culture. You have a request of me, I'll do anything you want. It's amazing, actually. Have you gotten a chance to go to India? I mean, most of you are India. You have not yet. Anuradha, have you got a chance to go to India?
No, I visited Sri Lanka as a tourist before I became a devotee.
So you're close,
And it lives up to its name. It is stunningly beautiful.
Yes, that's the meaning, right? So this is, but India, if you go to India, just from me, from a Western birth, observing Indian Vedic culture, I'm always just astonished how willing to serve the guest, this principle of atithi, where, like the guest is God. It's like incredible. I've never experienced anything. And actually, by experiencing it with my Guru Maharaj, that set the whole foundation for how we would start to invite people to programs here. Because if I didn't learn this cultural etiquette in India, we never would have been able to do this service, because there's so much. There's an art to greeting guests. So, of course, those steeped in the Vedic culture, like Hadai Pandit and all them, they totally, anything the guest wants, I will fulfill any of your desires. And so what did the sannyasi want? He said, I want to take your son with me on pilgrimage, and he can help me, and I will give him all kinds of spiritual knowledge and enlightenment. I'm an old man. And it seemed like it was a good arrangement for Nityananda Prabhu, which is why the Leela happened. But for Hadai Pandit and his Padmavati, it was like the end of the world. And actually, it caused Hadai Pandit to die, because he was like Dasharath. He could not tolerate separation from his son. But out of Vedic etiquette, and of course with Nityananda Prabhu urging him, no, this is the proper etiquette, Father, let me go with him, and everything. So it just was the last thing he could do. And he tried like anything to get out of it, but ultimately, for the sake of Leela, he let Nityananda Prabhu go, and then this actually caused his death in this world. But Nityananda Prabhu then went and traveled all across. Yes?
Sorry, I'm confused. What was the end? What was...
By being separated from his son, who was so dear to him, he had no more will to live. Like, you can die of a broken heart. A lot of times when husbands and wives are together for so many years, because all people know in this life is material enjoyment and their relationship enjoyment. That's most of what the material world knows. So when they leave, like this happened to my grandfather actually. When my grandmother left, It took some time, but he died of a broken heart. He lost the will to live. So for Hadai Pandit, his greatest attachment in this world, his will to live, was his son. So when his son left, that was it. He just had no more will to live. Because the sannyasi requested that Nityananda come and travel with him across the country, serving him and gaining spiritual knowledge and potency like this. So it's good for Nityananda. It's good for anyone. If someone came, I don't know how I'd do it, but if Abhiram, if someone came and a spiritually qualified personality and wanted to take Abhiram with them to, gain spiritual knowledge and travel the world and worship Krishna and see all these things, it would be a wonderful thing. But it would, because I have so much affection for him, I would be like, no, my boy, and so it's natural. But at the same time, this was so traumatic to Hadai Pandit that he actually left this world. He went back to Godhead. Don't worry, it wasn't a terrible thing. But for the sake of the Leela, it was very tragic for him. This should also teach us, there's no this is have you heard of the Rai Ramananda Samvad portion of the Chaitanya Charitamrita? So it's an incredible portion where Rai Ramananda, who is actually Vishaka incarnate, comes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna, and is instructing him on all of the intricate sciences of devotional service. So if you study this conversation, it's very, very potent. But the beginning of this conversation, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he asks Ramananda Rai, who's taking the role of Vishaka. Vishaka is, she's like the guru of all the Sakis. Everyone sees she's the guru. Actually, in Raghunath Das Goswami's Mana Shiksha, he says, Vishakam Shikshali Tvaditana Gurutve Priyasado. So he's remarking how she is the guru. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he met with Vishaka's Gora Leela incarnate as Roy Ramananda, he wanted to just hear everything about devotional service from Rai Ramananda. And even though he's Krishna knows everything, and Rai Ramananda kept saying that. You know everything already. You already know it all. But you're just making me speak, and only for your pleasure I'm speaking, because that's what you want. So he's actually speaking, and he says, what is the greatest suffering in this world? Do any of you know? Would you like to know what the greatest suffering is?
To lose a child.
What's that?
I would figure to lose a husband or a child.
Yes, that's most would probably figure like that. But actually, that's not at all the devotional conclusion.
No?
It's very interesting. So the devotional conclusion coming from Rai Ramananda, and this enlivened Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to hear this. The greatest suffering, and this is because we don't recognize it now, but actually if we knew what real bliss was, and we knew how badly we were suffering, and we'd realize the only thing that can keep us from this suffering is losing this thing, then if we had that intelligence and that realization, we'd never want to lose it. We'd never make another consideration in our life. But because we don't know, we make thousands of other considerations. No, my job's more important. No, my child's more important. So many things are more important. So that very thing, the greatest suffering is losing the association of the pure devotee. This is the greatest suffering, actually. But if we've never known the association of a pure devotee, we wouldn't even know how bad, because if you can experience the bliss in being in association of a pure devotee and really get that association, then at their loss a lot of people, when Prabhupada left this world, when Srila Narayan Maharaj left this world, when there's, people, their really close associates were lamenting terribly. It was like the end of the world for them. Why? Because they knew the bliss in service. They actually experienced it. So now they were losing that. So this is the greatest suffering. So when Nityananda Prabhu left Hadai Pandit, it was the greatest suffering for him. He could not handle. So naturally also, when the pure devotee makes a request like this sannyasi, it's etiquette to fulfill any of their requests, so they did it. And the Nityananda Prabhu became an avadut. He traveled all across the world, visiting all the holy places in India and learning so many things in his pastimes. He knows it all already. He's like practically God. He's God in servant form. But he traveled all across. So there's so many wonderful pastimes of Nityananda Prabhu. But eventually, he appeared. He was older than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and as he is acting as an avadut, and he may have been in Vrindavan, I don't remember where he was, but the moment that Lord Chaitanya came on the Gaura Purnima time, immediately those who were near Nityananda Prabhu, he ruptured with so much ecstasy, and he's like, Hari Bol! So much happiness. And he said that when he chanted this, everywhere was roar. The whole land trembled at his roar when Lord Chaitanya came. So this would foreshadow later that when Lord Chaitanya came, he started performing many pastimes. He has so many childhood pastimes. You can hear about them, Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you study these things, Chaitanya Bhagavat, all these things, you can know about many of these wonderful pastimes. And then, at some point, Lord Chaitanya he entered his devotional pastimes. So, Partha, it is possible that that's an Airbnb. So if it is, just show them where they're... Yes. Come on in. Sorry, we have like a little program. Yes, no problem. Yes, you're looking for the master, is that correct?
Yeah, we sent them money.
Okay, so no problem. You guys can, actually let me, you guys can go on up, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. It's the same one as last time. So, okay, but we'll continue with these pastimes. All right. So when Lord Chaitanya, when Nityananda Prabhu was ready, that he knew that Lord Chaitanya was performing now devotee. Because in the beginning, I don't know if you know Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, he wasn't always a devotee. He was like a great scholar. Because actually, this developing intelligence is almost like a prerequisite for devotional life. Devotional life isn't for, unintelligent people, actually. Devotional life is a very, very intelligent thing. It's not that, only the... hello. Are you Angela?
Yeah.
Cool. Have you been here before?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know where you're going? All right, cool. So, sorry, this is how we fund the place. We have Airbnbs. What's that?
A clever solution.
Yeah, I mean, the only solution. Luckily, the guy the devotee who founded this place, he already had this business model working, and we just kind of inherited it. And it was like, all right, that works. So, yeah, it's the only thing, though. Or we would not make it, actually. But, Krishna's amazing, actually. He's so many ways he's helped. So where was I? What did I say last? Who can help me?
Like Nityananda Prabhu, when he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes, just come on in. Don't worry. No worries at all. Yes, so when Nityananda Prabhu, he understood now that Lord Chaitanya, he had the pastime of becoming a devotee when he visited Gaya and met Ishwara Puri. And so after that, Lord Nityananda, he was sitting in Vrindavan, and there's a place, I think it was Vamshivat, where Krishna played the flute when he called the gopis for the Ras dance. And he was sitting there meditating, and then he knew, Lord Chaitanya, he's come and he's calling me. So Nityananda Prabhu immediately got up from Vrindavan, loud Hari Bol, and then he went immediately. So do you guys mind if we go a little extra time for the celebration today? Is anyone in a rush? Because I just would like to get a few good pastimes and at least get to one pastime, which the Jagai and Madhai pastime, which will prove Nityananda's most merciful nature. And we can see that the scope of mercy that is coming from such a personality. So,
You can talk to like an hour.
what's that? No, not that long. But I'll talk maybe to 8-10. That's my goal. So Nityananda Prabhu, he went immediately, and so right before he got there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a dream. And do you know who appeared in his dream? Balaram. He saw this large, beautiful, amazing man, and he is carrying a plow on his shoulder. And Balaram spoke to him, and he said, "Brother, I've come." And so Lord Chaitanya, he woke up, and he was so ecstatic. He was like, "Oh my gosh." I wonder if more Airbnbs are coming. So, actually, we have an Instacart order from Costco, so I'm wondering if that's going to happen one of these days, one of these moments too, soon. But anyway, we'll just deal with whatever comes. So where was I? Nityananda Prabhu was about to appear. He came as Balaram, right? So then, Lord Chaitanya, he said to all the devotees, Haridas Thakur is there, all of the devotees, Mukunda are there, and Murari Gupta. There's so many of Lord Chaitanya, Srivas Thakur, Gadadhar Pandit, Advaita Acharya, and they're all present. So he comes there, and he says, "Someone very special has come to Navadvip. Someone very, very special has come to Navadvip. You must find him. An amazing personality has come. Please, everyone go out and search for him." So all the devotees, they went and they're looking everywhere for this personality, knocking on doors. Who's new that came to town? Who's, and they're trying. But they could not find him. And actually there's a reason for this. Because, we ourselves may want to look for a great personality. Because when a devotee reaches mature intelligence, he'll realize that the most necessary thing for any type of auspiciousness in my life is to get the mercy of an advanced devotee or a pure devotee. This is the only thing, in the mature devotee, that's the only thing. Remember the greatest suffering? The greatest suffering is losing that association. So, when a great personality is coming, the mature devotees, they drop everything. And this is my commitment now. I'm only here to hear from the pure devotee. Even myself, one of the reasons I'm going to India is because and my wife I wasn't going to go to India because I had many family considerations. Well, I have a wife and I have a young child, and it wouldn't be responsible. I have many responsibilities here. But my wife and I have been feeling so discouraged with some of the kind of malaise of the Syracuse winter here, and also just the malaise of our daily activities, where it's not feeling so engaging and inspiring. So she actually, being an intelligent wife, she's realizing, I'm so bound up by this baby, I'm not going to be able to do it. But if you don't at least go get some mercy from pure devotee, then we're just going to be stuck like this, and it's just going to be like a bad situation. We'll keep suffering as we're suffering. So she told me go, so now I'm going. But the reason that her mentality, the reason why, is because this association of a pure devotee is like the most essential thing for happiness. If we get that, that's happiness. Any other thing we do is suffering. But real happiness is getting the association of the pure devotee. There's really nothing else to consider with devotional maturity. Not any other consideration. Doesn't matter what's going on at work. Doesn't matter what's going on. There are some considerations. Like, for instance, the devotees we're going to visit on Parikram, his name is Prem Prayojan Prabhu. Prem Prayojan Prabhu, he told my wife, you should not bring Abhiram during this time. I know you guys want to go, but Abhiram is so young and it's going to be so demanding with the Parikram, you really should not bring him. It's a risk to him. So that was the reason we weren't going to go. But he did say to me, but if Sita somehow could stay with relatives or things like that, or yeah, you could go for some time, no problem. So I had too much consideration for like, no, I can't leave my wife and I can't leave baby, so I wasn't going to go. But actually, it was her realization that you should go. This is the best thing for you, and it's the best thing for us.
Trayodashi is a very special person.
Yes, you've met him.
He
Yes.
stayed at my house many times.
Yes, yes.
He was a servant of Narayan Maharaj.
Yes.
I knew him when he was a simple brahmachari.
Yes.
And
So
he was always fun.
eh,
Because he would say that when we stay at people's houses, that after the third day, they get a little crispy, and he said by the fifth day they're extra crispy. And he would make great fun, but he always liked staying at our house because we're happy as long as the devotees were happy.
yes. So that's amazing.
In our playroom.
Yes. So if you want, he's supposed to come here again. He came here last year, but he's supposed to come here again this year. So I'm sure he would love to re-meet you after so many years.
Yeah. He's a very special soul.
Yes. So we're visiting because of how special we've perceived him to be. So that's one of the reasons I'm going to study with him for 5 weeks. Actually, that's my.
Lovely.
Yes. So that's my.
That's a gift.
Yes, it is a gift, and I can thank my wife actually for the gift because she has arranged it. So anyhow, when a special personality comes, the mature devotees, they must meet them. They must get their association, because the mature devotee knows this is where the greatest happiness lies, and by being able to hear from this special servant of Krishna, this advanced personality. So they all looked everywhere, but they could not find him. Do you know why they could not find him?
Why? They had no eyes to see.
Well, you could say they had no. Maybe they even did have the eyes to see, but actually, unless the Lord Himself gives you that mercy, you cannot. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he sent them all out to make them realize it's futile. Without me directly taking you to him, you cannot meet such a personality. So meaning, you cannot get, the way first that you get the Lord's mercy isn't from directly meeting the Lord. It's meeting the Lord's very, very special personality. And who is this? Guru. And Guru is actually, the original Guru is Nityananda Prabhu, because he's the original personality on how to serve Krishna. Krishna doesn't know how to serve Krishna. He is Krishna. So Krishna has to expand forms on how to serve Krishna. And that's Balaram, and that's the function. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he led them all to Nityananda Prabhu. And when they saw each other, they dropped everything and they immediately welled into tears. And Nityananda Prabhu, he chanted a verse. Do you know this verse? He chanted? It's a little... What's that? Yes. You know the rest of it? Yes, it's a very nice verse. He chanted this verse describing the qualities of Krishna, Nityananda, because he's seeing Krishna. Remember, Nityananda is Balaram. So he says, Barhapidam, Natavada Vapukarnayo Karikaram, Bipradvesha, Natavada, Bipradvesha, Kanaka Kapishang Vajayantim Chamalam, Randran Venora Dadasudaya Purayan Gopa Vrinder, Vrindaranyang Swapadaramanang, Pravishad Gita Kirtihi. And it's describing what Krishna looks like. Barhapidam, he has a crown of peacock feathers. Natavara, he's like this beautiful dancer. Vapu, he's got this body of a beautiful dancer. Karnayo Karnikaram, and he's got this beautiful Karnikara flowers in his ear, his karna. And then so on. I don't have to explain the whole verse. But he chanted this, describing Krishna, because he's seeing Krishna. So they immediately are like welling up in tears, and then all the devotees are ecstatic, just watching them embrace. And they just started like rolling on the ground, in a crazy way. And everyone's just like, what is happening right now? But they were just watching how beautiful it is. So we should understand that Nityananda Prabhu is... he's our actually ticket And I want to tell one more story about Nityananda Prabhu, proving that he is our ticket to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You don't get to just go to God. We think, oh yes, I know a lot of Christians, this is their idea. Well, I have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Okay, great. That's an amazing thing. And I don't need any man to tell me about it. Okay. Are you sure that your own mind is always going to be truthful in that endeavor towards Jesus Christ? There's not going to be any enemy in there trying to coax you out of it? Yes, and they're always battling this enemy. But we don't have to, the devotees don't have to battle the enemy. You know, and that's why there's always the war between Satan and Jesus going on in their hearts and in their mind. But we actually don't have to battle this war because we have the representative of Krishna, and that's the bona fide spiritual master. Yes, we do also have to battle lust, greed, envy, illusion, attachment, and pride. All of these things we do have to battle. But the spiritual master can smash it out of us. You know, so this is ultimately the mercy of Nityananda is when you meet the spiritual master. And we'll tell a pastime about this with Raghunath Das Goswami. Because Raghunath Das Goswami also, he wanted to run away and be with the Lord. And he got to associate with the Lord and the devotees, but he didn't get to fully attain the Lord. Why? Because there's a chain you have to go through to get to the Lord. You can't just, I'm going right to the Lord. A lot of people, I can tell that's their mentality. A little proud. I don't need any guru. I don't need anyone. I got it all figured out. Me and God, we're good to go. This is pride, actually. This is not Trinadapi Sinichena. We should be very humble. We should realize, actually, I'm not happy. I'm suffering. If you're not realizing you're suffering, then you must already be an enlightened soul. Or the other thing you might be is a fool. These are the two people who are not suffering in the material world. But the fool, eventually he does suffering. All he has to do is get a little intelligence and then he suffers. But anyone who's in between, a completely enlightened soul and a fool, they're all suffering. That's just the nature. Bhagavatam is saying, this is a verse was, Maitreya describes this to Vidura. So, we should understand that we're suffering, and the way out of suffering is we meet our ticket back to Godhead. What's the ticket? It's the spiritual master. It's the pure devotee. That's why the greatest suffering, Lord Chaitanya and Rai Ramananda, they said, is when we lose association of the pure devotee. Now you might say, so many of you are young. I don't know any pure devotees. You can't just come here and associate with me and my wife and Madhav and Parth and be like, we got the pure devotees. We're not pure devotees. We've got so far to go. So if that's the case, then your job should be, how can I meet a pure devotee? Who can I ask? Maybe you can ask us. We know some, pure devotees. People like Anuradha, devotees like Anuradha, have met pure devotees, hosted pure devotees at their house before. A pure devotee had, brought the Lord.
It wouldn't be me. No.
But that pure devotee, he empowered those forms, and he invited the Lord, and because he has full control of the Lord will come. He's here. Like Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they're actually here. Where before I didn't know. I was actually lamenting because I didn't feel like they were here. And
It's
now,
different.
yeah.
And the energy will change.
I know this to be true. I feel immediately when they came, I asked Madhav, I was in rare form of suffering this morning. I was really, really lamenting.
Probably blood sugar had something to do with that.
Yeah. Yes, there was the physical element, but I was really, even today it was just like a heavier day, because just like a lot has been going on in our life here, and even the ashram's future is so much uncertainty and things like that. But now I feel completely happy because I know they're here, and
Can I give you a little something? This is the third place that I have brought deities to. Even though I'm a terrible pujari, I don't know how I got this service, but in each time, the people that I brought them to were so worried that they couldn't do it, that things weren't working, the temple wasn't right, and they had so many mental, material problems. But it started off with so many devotees, and then we brought the deities, and then slowly, the deities bring energy, and with that energy, it brings people and it brings growth.
Yes.
Things change when you have deities. When I moved to Alachua, they had 15 to 20 devotees in a morning program, maybe 100 people in the vicinity. When I left there 30 years later, their morning programs had over 100 people, even for Mangalati, and they had over 7,000 people in the vicinity. And the deities that we brought from India, my ex-husband and I, had a major contribution to that. And the committees about how they would worship, could they worship, where's that? I mean, the mental platform went on for months, but they finally got them installed, and the temple blossomed. Energy came. With energy came people. With people came money, came resources, came skill. Deities bring what they need. They bring what you need.
Yeah.
This is why when I said this to your wife, I said, "Do you understand what this means?" It was not a small question. It's a big question.
Yeah. I don't know if can we live up. The Lord has actually come here,
They take care of it.
Yeah, and I sense, they're taking care of. Even we had a lot of question. We had one boy moving out. It was like a little unexpected, and we were like, all right. And the other boy, he's so busy with PhD. I was like, how's this gonna happen? And then all of a sudden, two nice couple comes just for them. The Lord sends a nice couple here to help. I'm going to be in India for 5 weeks. My wife's also going to be traveling for 2 weeks. So we were like a little nervous. But yeah, they take care of everything, and I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that you were their vessel to bring them here. And
It's all that.
yeah, and it's no small thing, because what makes a deity is not just like the material element of the thing. What makes a deity is when the pure devotee does the pran pratishtha ceremony and invites the Lord to become present in this material. So yeah, it's not the same anymore. It's not the same. We never did that for any of the deities here, and tonight was the night on Nityananda Trayodashi where the Lord himself decided to come through inspiring Anuradha and even inspiring me to lament, to even want them to come like this. And yeah, it's incredible. So should we tell maybe one more Nityananda Prabhu pastime? Maybe one or two more? So Stella, welcome, by the way. So we have okay, so what did we just say? Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, they were wrestling in ecstasy upon seeing each other, and all the devotees were wonderful. So we'll tell two more. So the Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the main thing that all the devotees did was Sankirtan. They would gather like this, and first they did it like we're doing right now, privately. We're not ready to take it out to all the people, but just getting all of the internal core people strong devotionally. And what do they do together? Hari Katha, Kirtans. I mean, and they all were like they knew the Bhagavatam, so they would sing the Bhagavatam, and they would get ecstatic singing the Bhagavatam, and they would do so many bhajans and so many chanting the holy names all night. And it was so ecstatic, everybody from around them was like, what's going on in here? And we went to this Sriva Sangan in Mayapur. I'll go there again in a few weeks. And in the Sriva Sangan, for 1 year, they just partied and had all these devotional gatherings, and the whole community got strong. And then after 1 year, then the main activity was when everyone gets strong, the whole team has risen up and is devotionally strong, then they take it out to the streets. And that's what Sankirtan is. Most centers don't get to do that first part yet, to really get really strong as a community. So that's our goal. We should, all try to get really strong as a community devotionally, and then we'll be empowered to take it out. So they're showing us the example. So at some point, though, now it was time to take it out. So Nityananda Prabhu was there now. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were actually already taking it out by the time Nityananda Prabhu was there. Nityananda Prabhu was already ready. So when he got there, now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he instructed him 3 things. Bolo Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. These 3 things are what we should do. So what's it mean? Bolo Krishna means what? Chant Krishna's name. Simple instruction. Who can do? Is that easy? Yeah. Bhaja Krishna means what? Worship Krishna. Yes. The deity worship, the artis, all these things. Also, everything should be done. We should worship Krishna. Prayers to Krishna, studying Krishna's instructions. And then the last one is this one. Koro Krishna Shiksha. What's that one? Take, to follow Krishna's instructions. So that one takes a little bit of study, because in order to follow his instructions, we have to know what his instructions are. But if we don't know what his instructions are, how will we follow? So yeah, that one will take, that's why hearing is important. You should come and hear what are the instructions of Krishna. And then also, personal study, swadhyaya is important. You should also, wherever you are in your devotional studies, and you could be anywhere, maybe Bhagavad Gita, Basics 101. Get in there and just a little bit every day. I'm going to study. I'm just going to give a little bit to you, Krishna. I'm going to give you like your intelligence to Krishna in that way. So he's doing like this. So Koro Krishna Shiksha. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he sent Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur. And Haridas Thakur is like an exalted saint. Before he even met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's an incredible saint. In his own right. But now him and Nityananda Prabhu were sent as a team to go give love of Godhead to everyone they meet. So Haridas Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu, they're going out, they're having ecstatic kirtans everywhere, and this is like their main duties in life. And they go out and do this, but then all of a sudden, these 2 personalities, these fearful personalities, start to disrupt things. Jagai and Madhai. You might have heard of them before. They're actually Krishna's associates coming from the spiritual world. But these associates, they've already took birth in this world as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, Ravana and Kumbhakarna, and Shishupal and Dantavakra. And now, in this age, this is the pastime. This is a great pastime. So, yes, we have visuals also here. So, thanks to Madhav's father, Craig. So they go out and they're preaching, and all of a sudden, though, we have 2 drunkards, Jagai and Madhai. And Jagai and Madhai did every type of sin you could imagine in this world. They would drink, they would assault people, they would violent, kill, steal, rape, all the things that you could imagine, the worst type of things. But they were sons of Brahmins, which is a great danger. So people, they weren't properly punishing them because their father was actually a respected Brahmin. And he himself was a good person, but his sons just went the wrong way. It happens to the best of us. Happens to the best of them, actually. It happened to Krishna as the Varaha. It was Varaha Dwadashi yesterday. Varaha's son and Bhumi, Varaha and Bhumi had a son, and his name was Narakasura. And Krishna had to come in a further incarnation and kill him because he had bad association. So it doesn't matter how good, it doesn't matter what type of Abhiram has got a good birth. If you get the wrong association, finished. And even the best type of person will become the worst type of person. But if you get good association, then you'll also be finished in the good way. So it's you are who you associate with. If you're, want to be get material enjoyment in the form of money, hang out with rich people. If you want to hang out, you want the form of enjoyment in the form of sex, obviously you hang out with the opposite sex, or now even sometimes the same sex. whatever you desire, that's the association. But if you desire the best thing, this transcendental bliss, you have to associate with devotees. So, by good fortune, Jagai and Madhai are going to get that association for the first time. They have two pure devotees coming out, mercifully in Sankirtan, trying to share, doing kirtans and telling people, that, hey, we chant in the morning, Shikadiya, Sabnadiya, Virche Neche Goranitai, Miche Mayar Boshe, Jacho Bese, Kacho Habudubu Bai. And the English version of that is, dancing Nitai Gore, reach Ganga shores to chant the holy names and teach. Maya's whirlpool has you fooled and sinking lower constantly. So you have to teach people about Maya, like, hey, this is terrible. What are you getting yourself involved in this world? Why are you doing all this? So they were teaching all these things. But, naturally it angers materialistic people. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear at all that what they're doing is actually like hell. They don't want to hear at all what they're doing is causing them suffering and there's no good result. They're like, no, I'm so happy. This is amazing. You just don't know because you don't have money. You don't have sex. You don't have all these things. And this is amazing. But they actually don't know. They don't know what real happiness is. Because they're not feeling the empowerment of the Lord and the pure devotees. But when you come in contact with a pure devotee, that changes. And it's contagious. It's infectious. So in this pastime, what happened is Haridas Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu, they go, but they see Jagai and Madhai are causing a big ruckus, and everyone's fearful of them and everything. But all of a sudden, Haridas Thakur said, "Come on, Nityananda, come on, Nitai, we should go somewhere else. These guys are bad fellows." But Nityananda Prabhu, with his mercy, he's like, "But if we can make them devotees, this will be the ultimate testament of Lord Chaitanya's mercy. If only we can make them devotees." And so Haridas Thakur says, "No, but this is dangerous. We should not go." And Nityananda Prabhu is like, "Come on, Haridas, we're going." And then he pulls him in there and he goes over to Jagai Madhai and be like, "Hey, you should bolo Krishna, chant Krishna's name, just say Krishna once." And then so they're not having it at all. They're like, "What are you talking about? You're a crazy man, Shut up, we're going to beat you, And so they chased him, and so Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur are now running away from this. And Haridas Thakur is lamenting, like, why do I have to hang out with this Nityananda Prabhu? He's always crazy, like, we never ever should have went and ever associated with these people. So they're having danger but fun, and eventually they escaped. But they went back to all the devotees, and they told Lord Chaitanya and all of them about these people. And Lord Chaitanya, he's laughing about this incident. But Nityananda Prabhu, he held it in his heart. They're going to be devotees. I'm giving them Lord Chaitanya's mercy. So sometimes the devotee, if they really, really want to help somebody, even if that person's completely unfavorable, and even wants to beat the devotee will still try and do anything to try to help that person get something. Because the devotees, we have so many secret weapons. The materialists, they can't see at all. Like if you just play a little kirtan for them. It's doing something. It's actually, but they have no idea that it's having an effect. But the Lord is actually come and penetrating their extremely hard shell of materialism. When you give them prasadam, it just looks like a tasty cake or a tasty this, that, and the other thing. But actually it's so potent, they can't even imagine. And they're like, yeah, I'll eat some food, why not? At the very least, you can give those things. But anyhow, and then over time they can actually sit and hear some philosophy. It'll become possible. But it takes a lot of kirtan and prasadam and things, and then someone will say, they get purified enough where, okay, I can hear some Harikatha. But it takes some time. So anyway, they go and over to Jagai and Madhai one more time, and Haridas is like, Nityananda, please do not do this. Not again. They chased. We almost lost our lives yesterday. And he said, no. This time, I'm giving them Lord Chaitanya's mercy. So he goes again, please just say Krishna, Bolo Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha, take their instructions. And so now Madhai is not having it. And he's, hey, you just shut up. Like, will you just end it with this? This is nonsense. What are you getting into? You're disturbing everything. They're drinking and all these things. So Nityananda, again, he's pleading, just please, Bolo Krishna. Just say Krishna. Just say it once. Just say Hari, Hari, Hari Bol, anything. And he wouldn't say it. So he took up a clay pot. So in India, when there's, when you were done cooking, they would make new pots every day. Every day you make a new clay pot. Maybe not every day, but you'd recycle the pots a lot. So oftentimes pots are on the ground, discarded. He took a discarded pot and he threw it, and it bashed Nityananda Prabhu in the forehead. I got to actually act as Nityananda Prabhu during this pastime, during a play one time. And during this time, I had to smear fake blood on myself. And it was a fun thing at the temple I did one many moons ago. But then blood is pouring. And then Haridas Thakur, he runs away. He's like, oh my God, they've hurt him. What could be done? And he ran to Lord Chaitanya, all the devotees. So meanwhile, Nityananda Prabhu is he's sitting there bleeding. And then he goes back again, just please chant Krishna's name. Even after he just got struck. If someone struck me, I'd be like, that's it. I'm going to fight, that's it. But he was, please, just chant Krishna's name. And so actually Jagai, the other brother, Madhai was ready to beat him again. And Jagai, he stopped him. He said, don't do this. He just wants us to call upon the name of the Lord. Don't hurt him. And so meanwhile, the other devotees, they get Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya is furious. And he said, he hit my Nitai, I will kill him. So he comes there and he raises his hand. And actually, I don't know if you know much about Krishna, but when he gets angry, he releases something called the Sudarshan Chakra. So those there, when Lord Chaitanya was ready to kill him, the chakra actually arose. And everyone there in Jagai and Madhai are looking like, oh my God, this is it. This is the end. The chakra's risen. And Lord Chaitanya's like, chakra, chakra. And Nityananda Prabhu jumps on Lord Chaitanya's leg. Please do not do this. And Lord Chaitanya's like, what do you mean? They hit you, they hurt you. Anyone who hurts my devotee, I will kill them. But Nityananda Prabhu says, in this age of Kali, the demon and the devotee are in everybody's heart. And if you, the most merciful incarnation, if you don't give them mercy, who will give them mercy? So please, give them your mercy, dear Lord. And he said, this Jagai, he actually protected me. Madhai was going to hit me again. But Jagai, he stopped him and said, please don't hurt him. And so Lord Chaitanya's heart melted. And then he immediately went and he embraced, he respected Nityananda Prabhu's wish, and he embraced Jagai. And Jagai immediately started shivering in ecstasy and in horripilation. And all of a sudden he started chanting Hari, Hari, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. The names of the Lord were just rolling off his tongue, and his body was shivering in ecstasy, and tears are coming down his eyes. And now Madhai is just looking at this oh my God. And then Lord Chaitanya, though, didn't embrace Madhai because he hit Nityananda Prabhu. He couldn't. But Madhai also falls at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet, and he says, please, give me your mercy. I want what Jagai said. I'm so sorry. He was so repentant for his sinful ways. And he says, one who offends my devotee, they cannot get my mercy. If you want mercy, you go to Nitai. So then Madhai approached Nitai, and Nitai, he hugged him and he embraced him. And then all of a sudden, Madhai, same thing happened. The shivering in ecstasy, tears rolling down the eyes, just Hari, Hari, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, calling out the names of God with tears and ecstasy. And so, there's a lot of lessons here. One, not to offend devotees, because you're going to get the wrath of Krishna. There's nothing worse you can do in your life than offending devotees. And then, yes, Avani.
why were they so violent against Nityananda?
Well, this is for Leela. They're actually special personalities, coming, but they were taking the role of demons, and demons, they're just very violent by nature. Demons are those who are very, very, the pinnacle of material enjoyment. That's their emphasis, and they don't care at all about any scriptures. They don't care at all about anything to do with God. They don't care at all to do with anything other than how they can enjoy. So to the degree that one wants to enjoy in this world and be the enjoyer and everything's about their enjoyment is to the degree that they're demonic. And to the degree that one wants to please and serve the Lord is to the degree that they're a devotee. So they came to play the role as the ultimate pinnacle of demonism or demonic activity. So they were in that thing, anything that gets in the way of their enjoyment, they'll immediately become violent to that and try to remove that thing.
Was Nityananda getting in the way?
Oh yeah. He was saying, stop your enjoyment over here. Chant Krishna's name. Worship Krishna. Remember, that was his thing. And so demons hate to hear that. There's worship Krishna. Let me drink, have sex, and go find whatever food I want to eat. Meat, this, that, and the other thing. You're getting in the way of my eating, drinking, and being merry. This is happiness. So they don't like to hear these things. But the devotee, they'll go out anyway, and they'll still try to tell people these things. So that happened, and Lord Chaitanya gave his mercy, and how did he do it? Through his devotee, through his representative. This is also, you're not going to get Chaitanya's mercy going all on your own. You have to serve the devotees, and you actually ultimately will have to get Nityananda's representative, which is the spiritual master, which is the pure devotee. So this is what we have to do. And I'll give one more pastime. I'm so sorry we're going so late, but it is a special day. Do I have your permission?
You don't need my permission.
Okay. Tej, do I have your permission? I'm speaking to my elders. Everyone else? Kumari, do I have your permission? Okay. One more pastime. And this is approved. And this is the pastime of Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami, he was an associate of Haridas Thakur when he was a little boy. His uncles were devotees, and they met Haridas Thakur, and Raghunath Das Goswami, he developed all kinds of devotional sentiment. So when he heard when Lord Chaitanya was performing his pastimes, he wanted to meet Lord Chaitanya, and when he did, it was just like incredible. What a personality. So he met Lord Chaitanya. But Raghunath Das Goswami, he was rich. He had a beautiful wife. He had everything that you could ever want in this world. And he had rich parents. And he didn't have to work. He didn't have to do anything. He didn't have to do any type of endeavor. Like, he just had everything. He was like the equivalent of a multimillionaire in this world. So, but all he wanted to do was just go and associate with Lord Chaitanya. He was like a young boy, 16, 17 years old. And so one day he just couldn't take it anymore, and he just snuck out, and he ran to Shantipur, where Lord Chaitanya and the devotees were. And he fell at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him mercy, but he told him, don't be a madman, Raghunath. Your parents are looking for you. They're, multimillionaires. They have all these bodyguards looking for you, everything. Don't be a madman. You go home and you practice. You do your duty, and you act like an unchaste wife. An unchaste wife, she does her duty better than a chaste wife. Why? Because she doesn't want to get caught. Unchaste means not loyal. So you do your duty like a wife who's cheating on her husband. So so on the inside, externally, you do your duty, but on the inside, you should have your longing for me. And if you do like that, you'll certainly come to me. There will be an opportunity for you to come to me. So Raghunath, he went home and he did everything he was supposed to do, served his parents, served everything. And even though now they had a bunch of bodyguards on him because he was crazy, any chance he would get, he would try to run away and join the devotees. But now, they were like, no, you're definitely not doing this. They were devotees too, but they were materialistic devotees, meaning like neophyte devotees. Like in the beginning, of your devotional life, You may prioritize material things in your devotional life, and you practice devotion to make sure to pray to Krishna that you get your material things. So that was their relationship. But a pure devotee, they want nothing to do with the material things, and they will discard the material things at the drop of a hat, and they will go get the pure devotees and get that association. That's the number one thing. So Raghunath Das Goswami's father and uncle, who were supervising over him, they weren't that type of devotee yet. They just respected those devotees, but they felt like their position, they were like the demigods. The demigods, like, we worship Vishnu, but the main thing is we want our position. We like our elevated position materially. But they don't actually mix. You can't be elevated materially and a pure devotee. Like even Prabhupada, he had command over billions of dollars, but he would immediately give it away for spending for Krishna's service immediately. So like this. So Raghunath Das Goswami, he went home, he served. He had his guru from childhood, he was actually a pure devotee. His name was Yadunandan Acharya. So he was allowed to associate with him. His father and uncle trusted him because he didn't think Raghunath Das Goswami was going to run away with him. So at some point though, Raghunath Das Goswami, he was traveling for work or something like this, but he came across Nityananda Prabhu preaching. So Nityananda Prabhu, he had a bunch of followers, and he was, Nityananda Prabhu's followers, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath Puri, Nityananda Prabhu and his followers were performing miracle after miracle, especially his followers. He took these young boys. They were called the Dwadash Gopals. They were like the 12 cowherd boys, and they were doing incredible feats. They weren't eating for days. They were lifting trees and throwing trees and doing crazy things, and they were always in ecstasy. One of them actually was Abhiram Thakur, which Abhiram, you could say, is named after one of these personalities. So, and anyone they would associate with, they would just give love of Godhead. Actually, Abhiram Thakur was known as someone who carried a whipping stick. And he would whip somebody, and they would immediately get love of God just by the whip touching them. Imagine going around and just whacking people, and then they just start trembling in ecstasy, like Jagai and Madhai. Haribo, Hare Krishna. But anyway, so this was actually this is the recollection. So when Nityananda Prabhu was doing his preaching, Raghunath Das Goswami, he came across Nityananda Prabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu was sitting under a tree. And he had heard that Raghunath Das, because some of the devotees, Raghunath was known as this boy who was trying to get Lord Chaitanya's mercy. So they said, Nityananda, Raghunath's here. And Raghunath was very humble. He was in the back, and he didn't want to make himself, but he wanted to offer his obeisances to Nityananda Prabhu. And he says, "Oh, Raghunath, you thief!" And he starts calling him, "You're a thief." And Raghunath was kind of confused. He's like, "Get over here, thief. You need to get your punishment." So now Raghunath, he comes over and he bows at Nityananda Prabhu's feet. And he says, "Raghunath, you're trying to steal from me. You're trying to steal my property. Therefore, you're a thief." So everyone's confused and Raghunath is just bowing before him. And so Nityananda Prabhu, he said to him that, "You're trying to take my property, but you cannot have it without my permission." And his property is what? It's the service of Lord Krishna, the service of Lord Chaitanya. You're trying to go and get Lord Chaitanya's association. You're trying to serve, but you're not taking my permission. So, fine. You want my mercy? Do you want my mercy? And Raghunath said, "Please give me your mercy." He's so humble. And so Nityananda Prabhu, he put his feet on Raghunath's head. And he said, "From now on, you're my property." And so he put his feet on, I'm paraphrasing, I may be messing it up. I'm surely messing something up. But he put his feet on Raghunath Das Goswami's head. And then, what did he do next? This is how you get mercy. One, you get the mercy of the Guru. Nityananda is the Guru. Then, the Guru engages him. And so what did he do? You might have heard of this before. Have you ever heard of the Panihati festival?
Yes, split rice.
Yes, the rice and yogurt festival, the split rice and yogurt festival. So this Panihati festival, he told Raghunath, use all of your money that you have and host a giant festival for all of these Vaishnavas. And so then Raghunath Das Goswami, he engages all of his money and wealth and everything that he had in his possession, because remember, he's a multimillionaire. And he has a huge festival for all the Vaishnavas. And they made all kinds of dishes and they did all kinds of things. And Nityananda Prabhu was instructing him how to host the festival. And they had this amazing festival. And so many kirtans and so many wonderful things happened. And then, after it was all done, Nityananda Prabhu, he said, he gave blessings after all the Vaishnavas were served. And Nityananda Prabhu, acting as his Shiksha Guru, was pleased. Then he said, Raghunath, you'll surely get what you desire. So, one day, Raghunath Das Goswami, he goes back home, and his guru, he had to go visit another devotee and render him service. And Raghunath, he was with his guru, so the bodyguards didn't want to bother and follow him because they respected the guru. He's the family guru, Yadunandan Acharya. So the bodyguards laid back, and he let him go off with his guru. So then Yadunandan Acharya and Raghunath said, okay, this is what you're waiting for. And Raghunath begged his guru, please let me go serve on your behalf for this devotee, and you go back. And Yadunandan Acharya knew that Raghunath was never going to come back. And Raghunath, he went, he served this devotee, and then he ran away to Lord Chaitanya, and then it became an associate of Lord Chaitanya, and actually it finally escaped his parents, because the right opportunity finally came, because they were never letting it happen, because the bodyguards were always there, every time he tried, from a young boy. But finally, after doing his duty, and the material energy slackened up, and the main thing is because he pleased the Vaishnavas. He got Nityananda Prabhu's mercy, and he pleased the Vaishnavas. Then he fully got mercy of the Lord. But that's the only way. The only way. You get Nityananda Prabhu's mercy. How? Guru. Then you follow the Guru's instruction. What will the Guru instruct you to do? Please the Vaishnavas. Then after the Vaishnavas are all pleased, Lord's mercy is coming. No other way. But this is how. So Nityananda Prabhu, he is actually every living entity. Every jiva has been created by him for what purpose? The same purpose as him is what? What is his main function? To serve Krishna.
Service.
Yes. So that's our goal. Find the purest Vaishnavas you can find. That's Nityananda Prabhu's representative. Hear from them, get their instruction, and then be engaged in service. And you'll taste transcendental bliss, and then we'll get Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. So that's our Nityananda Trayodashi festival. That's my whatever Harikatha is there.
Thank you. That was lovely.
Thank you so much for appreciating. I don't know even where it came from. I didn't really get to study. I just got to hear over some years these things. Is there any burning question or anything before we do the arati? For their first arati with the Lord, actually, Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming, Gauranitai. Any question before? Yes, please tell me.
So Nityananda, he was going against his friends to worship.
Raghunath Das Goswami.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Wrong person.
Yeah.
So he, how did he learn to do that if his parents didn't?
Haridas Thakur, when he was a little boy, was traveling, and he's like a traveling saint. And when he was a little boy, his parents invited Haridas Thakur, because they respected sadhus. His parents weren't like demons, but they were just materialistic devotees. Meaning they appreciate pure devotees, but they just want to be devotees who have like all kinds of material wealth. They're called prakrita bhaktas, or this is called the kanishta adhikari, or the material devotee. So they're like devotees, but they want to make sure that they have all kinds of positions of enjoyment. So they're not so advanced. So, but they still will appreciate more advanced devotees and usually serve them in some way, or try to say, here, take some of my wealth, or let me host you, or something like that. And then they do, and so when they hosted Haridas Thakur, Raghunath as a little boy got Haridas Thakur's association, and that's how he developed all of these devotional sentiments. and that made him want to associate with Lord Chaitanya. It always comes from sadhu sangha. So if you get the good fortune of somehow associating with a devotee of the Lord, then they will help arise that desire in you. And so that's what happened to Raghunath, even though his parents wouldn't have encouraged him to do that on their own. Yes, makes sense? Okay, anything else? Yes, Madhav.
How does one truly accept and know within their heart that they're associating with a pure devotee? Like, for example, there's so many people that associate with Srila Prabhupada, but only very few realized that he was a pure devotee.
Yes. So it's Uddhav in the Krishna in the Uddhav Gita. He explains what are the qualities of a guru. Also, if you read the end of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you'll also get a description of what like these transcendental personalities are like. But one thing that if you know what is a guru, it's tasmad gurum prapadyeta jigasu shraya uttamam. Therefore, one should take shelter of a guru if one actually wants to know what the ultimate good of his life is. Most people don't even want to know what the ultimate good of their life is. So first, it has to do with you. Do you actually want the ultimate good of your life? If yes, then you can maybe try to understand a guru. But if you don't, and you just want to try to enjoy the material world, then you can try again later, when the material world humbles you. But if you do actually want the ultimate good of your life, then Krishna describes Shabde pare chanishnatam brahmanyu pashamashraya. So meaning Shabde is the transcendental sound. So they're speaking, it's divine. Like when you hear it, it's like almost like electric. You feel like, oh my God, and you get inspired towards devotional service, and its evidence is in the scriptures. They're speaking the evidence of the scriptures, the Shabda Brahm. So this topmost Shabde Pare, this transcendental scriptures, Chanishnatam, they're fully conversant in all of these things. Everything they speak is the revelations of the Lord in scripture. And when it touches your ears, you're just like inspired. So, even any devotee can do that to a little degree, but to the higher degree that's happening, the purer the devotee that is. And then second, Brahmanyu Pashamashraya. Brahman is the Supreme Lord, the absolute truth. Upashamashraya, there is, why is it, I'm blanking. Oh, they completely take shelter. They completely take shelter of Brahman, and they're completely detached from the material world. So you can study. And then also, right, we know in Rupa Goswami's Vacho Vegam Manasa Kroda Vegam Jiva Vegam Ururo Pasta Vegam Etan Veganyo Vishaheta Diraha Sarvam Apimam Prativim Sashishya. In that, they're controlling the urge to speak. All these things are controlled and focused on Krishna. They're detached materially and they're totally attached spiritually. And they're fully conversant with the transcendental sounds, and when they speak, it's just like it's potent. You feel the potency of the when they speak. So that type of person is you could say that would be a guru for you. But also we want to check all the things, right? They're controlling the urge to speak, the urges of the mind and anger. They're only these things are all engaged in Krishna. The tongue, belly, and genitals, everything's engaged in Krishna. Right? And they don't do things unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. They do things that are favorable to Krishna consciousness. All these things. So you can look, you can study, you have the blueprint from our acharyas of what a pure devotee looks like. But Jigasu Shreya Uttamam, only if you really want the ultimate good in your life. If you want anything else other than that, you're not exactly ready for that then. But when you're ready to want the ultimate good and a desire has arisen in you, some inspiration to actually desire your ultimate good, then you'll do it. Then that Krishna will reciprocate. He'll send that person. Or even if that person's already there and sent, you'll actually be able to recognize, because that's what you want, and you recognize where to get it. But if we want material things, it'll be an obstacle. we won't be able to serve that person, we won't be able to recognize that person, and we won't be able to appreciate that person. Which is why when Srila Prabhupada was here, or Bhaktisiddhanta, or Srila Narayan Raj, and so many pure devotees, so many people associated with them, but very few people actually gave their whole heart. Why? Because very few people actually want only that ultimate good, only want that thing that they're coming to give. So, we have to see in our life, do I actually want that? Because we may want, there's a lot of attractive things in this world. And with a little knowledge, this isn't good, but even with that knowledge, you still like, oh, why do I still want this? But if you do somehow develop a desire for pure devotee association, only by that association will that be cleansed. And so that'll be another thing. When you associate with them, you'll notice that your material desires are lessening and your spiritual desires are increasing. So, anyway, these are some things. Okay. Can we do Arati? The first Arati? I'm sorry, it's so late. But Nityananda Trayodashi is a great day. So, Nityananda Trayodashi Mahamahotsava ki jai. So.